looking to get 1,000 doors, and we're looking to get 150, at least 150 this year.
Okay.
So that's like the main thing, is like to continue on this journey of buying more doors.
Welcome to House Rich, the real estate show. We talk to average people that have done above average thing in real estate. So today we're going to talk to the Monopoly Bros. Who are they? So they're basically two guys from Detroit that parlayed their single family investing all the way into a 52 unit apartment building. And so we're going to talk about their journey and a lot of other things. So thank you two for coming on. You guys want to introduce yourselves to the good folks on the show?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us, my man. Yeah, part of Monopoly Bros. My name is Jamiel, and we're super excited to be here, obviously. But yeah, we're from Detroit area. We started off with just kind of starting, how Monopoly starts off, buying single family homes, flipping homes, and then eventually moving on to multifamily, which was a fun deal we did together, and had some partners, and we'll talk more about that as we go. But yeah, Eric, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thanks for having us. Like Jamiel mentioned, my name is Eric Friday. I started similar. Started off wholesaling, elevated to buying and flipping, buying and holding single families, buying and holding multifamily, and then now up into a 52 unit building. So yeah, excited to be here. Excited to
Cool. So in my line of work, I deal with a lot of people that are purchasing like homes. Most people purchasing like single family properties. And so the biggest impediment I always see with folks that are looking to buy like single family properties is they don't think they can do it. They're scared to apply in the first place. So, you can't even apply to buy a single family property if you think you're going to get denied in the first place. So I'm like, what gave you guys like the audacity, the mindset to say, hey, I can buy an apartment building like in the first place? Like, because most people are scared to buy like a single family property. Like, why did you, what kind of mindset did you guys have to say, hey, I want to buy a 50 unit property building? Was that the mindset when you started, or that you kind of evolved there? How did you get to that point, basically?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's really who you surround yourself with. We surround ourselves around others that was buying apartment buildings. We have friends and others that already owned 100 units, 200 units, 500 units. So when you have zero, you're around others and they're talking about it. They're engulfed in multifamily, and they're kind of pushing you to get into it. It becomes less scary because that's who you're around. Now your mindset changes over to that. So I think that's the real mindset shift, is being around others that are doing it, and being around those that can show you how to do it in your daily conversations, and just being together.
Okay. And so how did you start off for either one of you? What was like the first property or first real estate transaction you had?
Mine was a single family purchase from the auction. I bought it, just from the auction. It was $1,000 from the auction. That was my very first transaction.
How about you, Jamiel?
Yeah, mine came from a wholesaler. That was my first single family home in Detroit, $10,000. Got it from a wholesaler and started renting it out. Yeah, first one ever.
And so when you bought, for both of you, when you bought that first property, like what was the plan? Was it to keep doing the single families? Like what was kind of the plan when you first started?
Yeah, mine for sure. I bought with the intent to keep it pretty much forever. It's in the neighborhood I grew up in. So I had literally been saying I was going to buy the house for like 2 years.
All right.
Prior to actually buying it.
And so what took 2 years for you to buy the home? Like, was it just, you didn't have the money, the qualifications, you just didn't know what to do?
No, it hadn't hit the auction.
Okay.
It was here, they were in Wayne County in Michigan. They go based on the back taxes. So it takes 3 years, at least 3 years, for them to even be eligible to hit the auction. And then depending on what that owner does, it could take longer.
Okay, so you bought it like one of those tax auction sales? Or you talk a little bit about their process, please?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. The Wayne County tax auction is basically, they have a registration period where you can register. That's at no cost to you. But during that registration period, for you to be eligible for the auction, you do have to put a deposit down by a certain time. At the time, if you wanted to bid on one property, it was $2,500. If you wanted to bid on multiple properties, you had to put down a $10,000 deposit. And then from that point, you're locked in, and then you just wait. You see which houses you want, and you see which dates they hit the auction and which dates they end, and you pick and choose, when you want to go in and bid, or obviously you want to make sure before the bid ends that you are at least in contention if you want to, up your bid. But basically you just watch, and that's what I did.
And so how is that? So with the tax sales, is it basically you're paying the back taxes? And does the owner have a chance to like I know I think like in Dallas they have like a year to try to pay the taxes and get the home back, or do you just get the home immediately after you pay the taxes?
So you get the home. Originally, what they do is typically is what the auction price will be, the amount of back taxes that are owed. That price, whatever you pay, will go towards the taxes. If it doesn't sell in that first auction, it then goes to another auction where they start the bids at $500. Regardless of what you buy the property for, the back taxes are wiped clean, but no other like liens or judgments are wiped. Like you get a quitclaim deed. So you have insurance on the property. You just have a deed saying that you have interest in the property at that point. And then, yes, the sellers do have a redemption period. I believe it's 6 months that they would have to redeem it, or at least make a claim to redeem the property for the amount that it was sold in the auction.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. And then Jamiel, going back to like your first property, like what was the plan with that first property? Was it to stay single family? Was it to go multifamily, or kind of what was the game plan there?
Yeah, I mean, I was scared of my mind. I just wanted to get one property, get one tenant, and just hopefully can cash flow. I bought a property from a wholesaler that I trusted, that I met in the networking event space, and my main goal was just to get it, fix it up some, and rent that bad boy out.
So how did you even find that community or that network? Because like most folks probably, well, can you explain what a wholesaler is? Like, because I think a lot of folks don't even know what a wholesaler is to begin with.
Yeah, so wholesaler basically is a person that is finding off-market deals, do some kind of marketing, whether it's cold call it, bandit signs, referrals, and they're assigning interest. They're wholesaling to an investor. They're the middleman in between a seller that's looking to sell, that typically has a dire need to sell, and selling it off to an investor that is that's looking to pay cash for properties, or looking to buy properties in bulk and such. I was that investor at that time, and when I bought through the wholesaler.
And how did you find that community to begin with? Because like, how did you get interested in that, or even like find out what a wholesaler was in the first place?
Yeah, so it was actually through I believe she was through a networking event that I went through. Jay Morrison at the time, he was and he's a big time, I guess, real estate guru kind of guy. And years ago, he had like a community and came to Detroit, and that's how I met her. And we just kind of stayed connected and stay followed up with each other.
Okay. And how long have you two known each other? How did you two connect?
Yeah, it was same similar thing. We met through a networking space, which is, the importance of networking and meeting others.
It was the same event.
Okay.
Was it the same? It might have been the same event. Yeah, it's crazy.
It was the same event.
Okay. You're right. You're the same event. Yeah, show the power of it. And we met through that same event. And like I said, stayed in contact, followed each other through Instagram, and just kind of started building together.
Okay. And let me to jump back a little bit. Like, what is your two's like background? So like, I don't know, in high school, we graduated high school, or I don't know if you went to college, like was the plan to get into real estate the whole time, or that just kind of come from, reading books, learning, and networking? I guess you can go first, Eric.
For me, real estate wasn't even a thought.
Okay.
The only thing it was the furthest thing from the truth.
All right.
I wasn't worried about anything like that. I was really only worried about trying to get some money, and going to school, and that to get money. And then I ended up going to school, computer engineering. I left the 4-year college I was at, went to community college for a semester, left there, and then ended up going to like an institute where I ended up getting my engineering degree.
Okay.
And I ended up getting an engineering job. That's really what pushed me into real estate.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. So because I know I know a little bit about engineering. I know it's super hard. I took some electrical engineering classes. So was the plan to become like what was the plan when you got the degree?
It was strictly, and sad to say, it was strictly money based.
Okay.
It was get this job, and what's the next position up where I can excel that or increase my income, and then once I get there, what's the next what's the next level that I get to that will increase my income. So in engineering, it's like you get to be an engineer, then you get to be like a manager, maybe an executive manager, then an executive. Like that was what I thought I was going to do. Just moving up the ladder.
Okay. And sorry. Okay. And so so I got thrown off a little bit there. And so you kind of guys talk about when you connected. Like, what was the plan when you two connected? Like I said, were you like, well, I guess who had the idea as far as kind of moving into the multifamily space?
Yeah, the plan was, we didn't have a plan. I think that's why when we both came together.
All right.
We both just had a similar mentality of like, hey, we both know we want to do multifamily, and if you find a deal or I find a deal, let's pull together our resources to close on a multifamily deal. So whether it's if one person is raising money or if one person is marketing to get multifamily, let's just make sure that me and you are together on this. And that's kind of how it started. And then me and him started really planning things out, and we went to an event, and it kind of took over from there. But initially, though, it was more so like, hey, the only person I know is looking to buy multifamily, so let's make sure me and you are trying to let's figure out how we can do this together. Let's just keep each other involved and in touch.
Okay. And so could you walk through? So I want to get to the apartment building. So how do you get from single family homes? You guys are networking. When you say multifamily, you're talking about less than 4 units, like residential, or you're talking about larger than 4 units when you say multifamily?
Yeah, we're talking larger than 4 units.
Okay.
So this one's 52 in this case.
Okay.
But we're looking for everything 5 units and above.
Okay. So yeah. So how did you actually? So how do you purchase a 50 unit building? I'll just ask that. Like, how do you go about getting the financing for that? I assume you need some sort of like management experience. I would think, or like how do you buy a 52 unit building? I would assume. I'm assuming you two weren't millionaires before this, or didn't like how do you get the financing and all that to buy the home or buy the building? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I guess I'll give it how we do. There's many ways of doing it, right? There's multiple different ways, but how we came about it is we so long story short, me and him, we were cold calling sellers that actually own multifamily, right? So we're calling mom and pop owners that own multifamily real estate. And we came across a surgeon that was looking to sell these units. That was 52 units total.
Okay.
And so back to the whole thing prior about your network is your net worth, right? We have partners that already own units. So we just partner with them where we put up some cash, they put up cash, they're raising money. And once you're able to get investors involved, right, you're able to raise money, you have maybe 10 investors that raise X amount of money, right? You bring the deal in. We already have a property management company that they use that they're familiar with.
Okay.
And they're doing a 1031 exchange. So it's really just pulling together a bunch of resources to help buy it, right? And then we get our equity out of the thing for bringing the deal and putting cash up. So once again, we didn't sign on a $5.6 million loan, right? But you don't necessarily, this is what I tell people that's looking to buy multifamily. You don't need to, right? You have to do is be able to find a deal and be able to raise money. If you have 20 people that can raise, that can bring in 50,000, right? That's pretty much $1 million right there that you can put down a down payment, right? You don't have to use always your money. So you have bank money, you have investors' money, and then you have just relationships. So all that together kind of got us to the 52 units. But more importantly, was actually finding somebody I was looking to sell and make sure he got a good deal from it.
Okay, and so, and correct me if I'm wrong. So my understanding of like purchasing a building like that is like one, whether you have the money or not, you need like someone that, and maybe you talked about that, the property manager, but you need someone that actually has the actual experience, like managing a building of that size. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have that. Back to the networking of partners, right? There's multiple people in this. We have guys that own 1,000 units prior, right? We have a property manager, an insurance company, and a lender that they use on prior deals. So that goes back to the networking relationships, right? So make sure you surround yourself with those people because they're able to leverage their expertise and their name to be able to, for people to feel comfortable with you buying that building. So yes, that was already lined up because of our network.
Okay. And the financing side as well. So they'll give you the loan based off the projected income. Is that correct for a building that big? Or how do they figure out like what you can actually qualify for?
Yeah. Actually, exactly pretty much what you said. They're going off what the income is and what's the projected income, right? So they're looking at the cap rate. They're looking at the NOI, the cash on cash return. They're looking at all the numbers, and they underwrite. Banks look at this as an investment. They look at multifamily as a business, whereas when you're looking at single family, right, we're looking at more as it's kind of like appreciation is different, right? We're looking at a different space. Multifamily, they look at multifamily like a business, so they want to see numbers. They're underwriting this, and we actually send them our underwriting numbers so you can see what this building generates. And then based upon that, they can go ahead and give out money based upon those numbers.
So like, what are some of the key things they look at? So I know like when you're purchasing a single family home, they look at like credit, your debt to income ratio, and funds. So like, what are some of the things they look at for like a commercial property?
Yeah, you want to jump in this one? I can too.
I mean, they're looking at the same things, but then, like Jamiel said, they're looking at the asset too, and how well the asset is performing. So they'll look at your credit worthiness, but more importantly, they're looking at your portfolio, your previous experience in the commercial field. How many loans have you actually signed on? How many deals have you actually done? And then they're taking into account this property that you're trying to get a loan on, and then they're combining it all together to make a decision. And then some of it is even relationship based.
Okay. And so what kind of criteria do you use as investors to say, hey, this is a good deal in the first place? Like, are you guys looking at the P&L, or like, what are you looking to say, hey, this is a good deal for me to even, try to make an offer on in the first place?
Yeah, so we literally have an Excel sheet that one of our mentors, and we're in his real estate lab group, David, he created a software or an Excel sheet that has like 8 or 9 tabs.
Okay.
And it looks at literally everything.
Okay.
So profit, loss, expenses, gross income, rents, square footage, unit mixture, CapEx. Like we're taking into account literally everything, and we're asking the owners of the buildings that we're looking to buy from. We're asking them for a T12, which is a trailing 12 of basically everything within the last year, profit and or expenses and income. And then we're also asking them for a rent roll to say, okay, this unit is this amount of money. It's leased at this. The lease ends at this point. The tenant pays this. So we're literally going through. We're trying to go through every single number that they have to make a decision.
What would you say some like red flags, like as an investor, you're looking to say, hey, I see the X, Y, or Z, and this is probably a no-go for me. Are there any like red flags you would kind of say for folks to look out for?
Specifically, I don't know if it's like red flags, but usually we can tell, like a lot of people use like per door price. So like if an owner is asking a per door price that is just it's like astronomical or like extremely low, that might be a red flag. Especially if it's extremely low in an area that we know the price per door should be a lot higher.
Okay.
Maybe not having their finances in order to be able to provide certain things might be a red flag. But other than that, I mean, we're doing due diligence even after we sign the contract. So,
gotcha. Yeah, and I guess how long does that process take as well?
So for the one we recently closed, the due diligence process, or just the closing process in general?
Yes, I'm just curious. So you identify this 52 unit building. At that point, do you start pulling numbers from the seller, or do you have to get financing? How does that process even work? Like, do they show their hand before you get the financing, or do you need to?
So initially, what happens is we request that T12 and that rent roll to start our underwriting process, because that kind of because we're going to need that information to even go get financing and to know if it's a good deal. Because once we determine it's a good deal, then we have to provide those numbers to someone to finance it. So we're doing that up front before we even get under contract. Once we have an idea of, okay, this looks good, it looks like it can be a deal, and then we're probably on the side working the financing side as well, then that's when we're going back to the seller and say, hey, this is our offer. And this is, if you agree to this, then we can go under contract and sign, and then we can have our lawyer draw up a purchase and sale agreement.
Okay.
And
then, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then from that point, that's when you kind of enter into, okay, this period is due diligence, and such and such and such and such. But all in all, that for us, that process took 4 months.
Okay. And is that typical? I don't. Let me ask you: Did you guys ever? Was this like the first kind
First
of
one.
big deal? Oh, this is the first one you guys ever? Okay. So you never got like rejected before. It's just the first one for one so far.
Yeah. Well, did we get rejected prior?
I mean, we got rejected on making offers.
Okay.
Yeah, on making
so-
offers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm curious about the rejection process as well, just because, what kind of lessons did you two learn as far as having offered rejected for one reason or another?
Yeah, I mean, we got rejected because, just honestly, a lot of it's just price is too high, right? We get the rent roll, we get the T12, we underwrite it, and they want 100,000 per door, which in this case, let's say a 10 unit, they want $1 million, and we come back and say, man, this thing's only worth 750,000, and we can't agree on a price. A lot of it comes from just not agreeing on price. That's been our main thing as far as getting rejection. Or, as I said, there's multiple partners in a different in multifamily. Every multifamily or apartment building that you see is probably usually is owned by more than one person.
Uh-huh.
And when I mean by owned, is other investors in there, right? There's silent investors, different things like that. And we had some cases where one person says yes, but the other person says no, right? So that's kind of the big thing where the partners of the owners can't get together and agree, or simply just the price is too high. And it doesn't make sense. But that's really the rejection. It's much more straightforward. It's not like single family homes with a lot of emotions in it. It's like, this is the price we get. This is the numbers on underwriting. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Yep.
And how do you all go about managing those the people? I don't know how many people are in your group, but how do you go about managing? Like, is there like a one person that's like, hey, this person makes a call, or do 10 out of 10 people have to give the thumbs up? Like, how do you decide like what you're moving forward with?
In regards to
so you're investing your money as, I guess, how many people are in the group you're investing with?
It's about 10 of us together. We can count investors.
Okay, so do all 10 have to give the thumbs up to go forward with the transaction, or is it like I don't know, people have like voting rights, or I don't know how does that process work on who gets to decide what?
Yeah, I mean, every structure is different, right? But in this case, yes, they all had to say yes. In this particular case, where everybody has a right to vote, and everybody said yes. So in our case, everybody saw the deal was a great deal, so they were excited because what happened was it was a 1031 exchange. Okay. So therefore, they were getting tax deferred from a great deal to a better deal. So it was kind of a slam dunk. So yeah, everybody said yes very quickly. But typically, yes, most people, you do have to have all partners on board. Correct. But you can also sell your part, sell yourself out of the deal, sell your share out of the deal. So there's many ways of getting out and leveraging it, but everybody has to be involved in this particular deal and say yes.
Okay. And so once you're in the deal, you've purchased the property, how do you go about making decisions as far as like capital expenditures and spending money? Like who makes that call? So because it seems to me that it could be a lot of hold up if like all 10 people have to agree to, I don't know, replace the roof, or we're going to redo plumbing or fix some toilets. Like who's making those calls on like the day-to-day or like the kind of major expenses as well?
That's a good question. So the biggest thing is it's a difference. So even there's, let's say in our case, it's 10 people. 6 of those 10 people are just silent investors. So they are simply just putting the money up and getting a return. Whereas the other 4, and we'll use me and Eric, we're part of that. Us 4 or 5, whatever it may be, we're the ones that's making the decisions. So it's not as many people. It's kind of splitting on who's kind of the operators, right? We're part of the operator, who's the investors. So the operators, to answer your question, are the ones making the decision. And then in that decisions, they trust us with their money, the other investors, because they did go in the previous one to help get the building up to higher, raise the rents, et cetera, et cetera. So it's operators and investors, and the operators are the ones that's making those calls on a day-to-day.
Okay, cool. Another thing, how long ago did you guys purchase the building?
October last year.
Okay, so October, November, so less than half a year. So how has it been? How is it managing like a 50-seater building? I figure a lot of people, a lot of personalities, a lot of stuff that can happen. Like, how's it managing the day-to-day or week-to-week or whatever of the building? Like, are you dealing with like tenants calling you, or do you have somebody that's managing all that?
Yeah, good question. So the beauty of multifamily, reason why we really recommend it is because when you're at that high of a level, you more than likely you're getting a property manager.
Okay.
And when you're talking about property managers, when you have 50 units, 40 units and above, they're typically not they're typically professional and done this for a very long time, right? It's not like
Gotcha.
a real managing your properties. So they tackle the tenant stuff. Me and Eric, we're asset managers, so that's been experience and fun on our side. Basically, we're managing the assets, so renovations, exterior work, interior work, getting the units up together. So we're doing more things with contractors and we're just getting the units put together and making them look nice. But we're not really dealing with any tenants of any sort. We're leaving that to the third party property manager.
Okay, gotcha. More high level stuff. And so, like speaking of like the asset manager, how do you go about managing the asset budgeting for like those larger capital expenditures?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just like a flip or any other property, just a bigger scale, right? So we have a budget. Let's just say a budget is $1 million, right? And before you even go and buy the property, we already know we want to do the property. We walked the property 10 times already, right? We've seen everything we need to do. We know it needs a roof. We know it needs paint. We know it needs this. So we're getting bids, right? We're going out to people. We're getting 3-4 roofers, getting quotes from them, right? Seeing how their business is, checking out their work. So we're already lining all that up before we even buy the building. So our goal and what we were doing is basically putting together everything we know that needs to get done with these units to get them to the look and feel that we want, so we can raise the rents, of course, obviously, and have a better just overall experience. But yeah, we're working with contractors, we're working with everybody prior and getting quotes and figuring out how we can get this to fit within our budget and what's needed.
Okay. And I'm not getting into your pockets of this. Feel free to answer this with as much or as little detail as you feel like. But like, so you have a 52 unit building. Altogether, you paid, or you had it was $5.7 million, and it's 10 of you. So is that something that basically, if you wanted to, like, could you just live off the whatever you're making off this building, or is that, or you not are you looking for more units, but could you stop right now and just have a comfortable living off of whatever you're earning off this building?
Yeah, I mean, I could answer that, Eric. It's no. So the answer is no in the sense of no, right? And the thing is, because we are new to this, our negotiation equity splits is not necessarily as high as the next person's, right?
Okay.
So is it getting us money? Of course, but
Uh-huh.
not the money that we think we need to live off of, right? Our goal is to get 1,000 units and 1,000 shares, right?
Okay.
And whenever you're partnering like that, when you have many investors, right? Everybody gets a piece of the pie, so it's not going to be as big if you own it outright. So no, this 152 unit is not kind of retire on the beach kind of lifestyle, right?
Gotcha.
It's enough though to have a healthy, to do fun things and be able to have a good life, but nothing where you can just retire and sit on the beach on.
Okay. So let's talk about the future. Like, what's the plan with you two going forward? What's the next move?
Well,
Eric, you want to jump in?
main thing is continue to buy apartment buildings. Like Jamiel mentioned, we're looking to get 1,000 doors, and we're looking to get 150, at least 150 this year.
Okay.
So that's like the main thing, is like to continue on this journey of buying more doors. But then also, now that we've had this experience and we've realized that there is a need for people to learn, is to also build that awareness.
Okay.
Continue to educate people on how we did it, because we feel the way we did it is very simplistic, and pretty much anyone can do it as long as you're aligning yourself with the right people, and as long as you are intentionally going after the knowledge to do it. Because like we all mentioned, or like we mentioned, we started with a single family home and literally in the hood, and now we have 52 units in the suburbs, and there was no groundbreaking thing that we did to get there. It's just we put in the work, we were intentional about our relationships, and we just worked, really. So knowing that, we also want to obviously just be able to educate people on that. So building the brand of Monopoly Bros and just making people aware, this is how we did it, and this is, and if you need help, we're here to help in that manner. And then, but the main focus is just to keep buying apartments, because that's what it's not to step away into like educational field or anything. It's to, and then also just to be all the way transparent, it's for people to see that what we're doing so that they want to partner with us.
Gotcha.
Because you might not have the time or the resources or even want to do all the groundwork, the cold calling, the analyzing deals, the raising capital, but you might have your own money and you just want to deploy it.
Okay.
Knowing really people partner with other people because they trust them and they want to do business with them. So us building this brand and showing people that we're doing it, that just is like our report card and makes people feel comfortable investing with us so that we can buy apartments.
Got you. Thank you. And so, so me, I'm say I'm a 25-year-old guy. I maybe own one property, two properties. What is like I know it's not this simple, but what are like one or two steps to get me from my portfolio of one unit to that apartment building, whether it be 52 units, 10 units, or just kind of to get into that commercial space?
Honestly, the first step is just to start educating yourself.
Okay.
You're already in the realm of real estate, so you already know real estate. So you just need to start learning commercial multifamily.
Okay.
Once you start learning that, just start getting in the groups or the networking circles of people that are doing it, and then start applying what you're learning, and you'll get there. Because it's honestly, like we've said it before, it's not much difference between buying a single family home and buying a commercial multifamily. It's just bigger numbers. I mean, there are some different guidelines and such, but the process of analyzing a deal, going on the appointment, having the money, finding contractors, all that, it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Educate yourself, start getting into the networking circles, and then just take action.
And also to add on to that as well is everything Eric said 100%, and then also find your way, right? And what I mean by that is, if you may know who you are. Do you have the money to put up in a deal? Maybe you're at 25-year-old, you have a great job, right? Maybe you live with your parents, you have X amount of money. Maybe partner with somebody into a deal and learn hands-on, right?
Okay.
Or if not, maybe if you don't have money, maybe hustle how to find apartment deals. Maybe that's how you search. Figure out your way to get in and bring value to somebody else so you can get in a deal, right? And so maybe it's relationships. Maybe you have very good relationships. Maybe you already know lenders and commercial brokers, right? And you could bring in different things. So everything Eric said, plus find your way in. I think people want things to just come to them, but you have to go get it. So that's another thing as well to add into that.
And so, yeah, thank you. So Eric, you talked about teaching folks. And so folks can just how do folks can just reach out to you for like a consult? Or how do you go about helping educate folks?
Yeah, right now, that's all. That's pretty much all we have. But we're working on some things as well as doing live Zooms like this or lives, and then recording that content and making that available to people. But yeah, they can go to the Monopoly Bros and Monopoly.bros page on Instagram. The link is in our bio to schedule a coaching call with us. Same thing on Twitter, Monopoly_Bros. It's our link is in the bio if they want to schedule a coaching call to get on a call with us.
Okay, and all that info will be in the descriptions, whether you're listening on YouTube or the podcast. So you'll be able just to click down there as well.
Really quick, if you mind me interrupting really fast. Just want to add one thing. Another thing is when me and Eric started off, kind of, I guess one of our first partnerships, we actually host meetups here in Detroit. So we have free meetups that we do here in Detroit. And then we also do paid touring properties, whether it's a flip, touring different properties. So another way to get an education is, like Eric said, is on the media side. But we also have things that we're going to host events where people can fly out to events that we're going to be working on doing as well as like the courses or one-on-one calls. So we're working on those different things because we really believe that if we can do it, anybody can get an apartment.
Got you. Thank you. Trying to think. I don't know if we missed anything. Anything I maybe left out as far as going from buying a unit. I don't know anything you guys else want to cover. I don't know if a question I forgot to ask or something like that. I don't know if we think we got everything.
I don't think we really missed that. I don't know, Jamiel.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing missed. I think I guess the ending note or how to do it is just that, back to the, just the brand was chosen specifically. If you're that person who has 1 unit, um, you know, or 2 units, like don't be afraid to try to go for more. I think what holds people back is like you said, is fear. And
Mhm.
so just knowing that you can do it, right? And I think that's the biggest thing in Monopoly Bros is like you can do it. It's just a progression like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Start small, work your way up, and keep going from there. So that's kind of our story, and then you guys kind of heard it from being starting off in the hood, Detroit, and working way to the suburbs with multifamily. If we can, anybody can.
Got it. Thank you. And so my last question I always ask guests, it may be a little bit different answer from you two because you're well above the price point I ask about. But um, if you had $1 million and you had to spend it in a week on something real estate related, like what would you buy with it? Like you got 1 week to spend $1 million. Like what would you do with it?
I mean, I'll go. I know this. I mean, in a week, I'm trying to put an offer on a property and put $1 million down to get a multifamily. That'd be like my first thing. But if that wasn't, somebody don't have that experience, I think what I would do is, I would honestly go get this. I just what I do. I would go, and it don't have to be with us. Obviously, we would love to be with us. Use that $1 million and invest into somebody's syndication or fund, and say, "Hey, I have $1 million. I want to get into multifamily space. I see you do multifamily. I have $1 million. I want to partner with you as a silent partner, but can you teach me on the back end how to get by multifamilies and learn the ins and outs of it?" So I'll take that $1 million, invest with somebody else that runs a real estate fund that does buy multifamily, put that money up, right, with them, and then also ask them, hey, in exchange, I just want to learn every single thing and be in every meeting and be in every single thing from point A to point Z, so I can learn everything about multifamily, so I can do it myself at some point. That's what I would do with $1 million.
Gotcha. How about yourself, Eric?
Uh, like me personally, I would definitely go buy like I would be scouring the United States looking for storage units or yeah, other apartment deals. Yeah, I probably would stay away from single family. Yeah, I would probably just yeah, I think I would just stick with I would be definitely looking to park it into some self-storage facilities or multifamily apartment buildings or a combination of both. That's definitely what I would do right now personally.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. And that was the final question, but I do have one more question since you brought up Jamil talking about and this is kind of what you did as well. But how do you go about actually vetting the people that you're investing with in the first place? Because you hear all these horror stories about, I gave somebody $1 million or $50,000 or $100 and they ran off with it, never to be seen again. Like how do you vet these people that you're investing with in the first place?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. It's a few ways, right? I think one is getting past performance of what they've done, right?
Okay.
Experience and past performance. That's an easy way to do it. So betting them not on social media, right? On Instagram per se, asking for their financials of their last multifamily and asking, can you see their P&L, right? Of their
Right.
last one, of their last multifamily done. That's an easy way to do. Also, checking in and seeing, like I said, experience, how long they've been doing it. And if those two things don't work, I think another good thing, a way to vet people, is to ask others that are respecting the space about them. I think
Okay.
real estate people are very honest, right? If you have to have a good name in real estate. People know who does shiesty business. So ask other people that you already know that's trustworthy and ask about them, right? Say, hey, so and so, how do you feel about them? You know them? And they'll give you some answers. So, but one thing is numbers don't lie. So grab P&Ls, ask for P&Ls, ask for past performance of your last multifamily deal, and actually ask for the numbers and then match it up. And and if it makes sense for you, it's always a risk, right?
Yeah.
That's another thing too. People scared to lose money, but that's the risk, right? We can lose money on this deal. That's a possibility, right? The economy, things can happen. Who knows, right? But that's the risk. But what you do is to mitigate that risk. You do your homework, and that's really looking at experience, past performers, pulling out the P&L, asking for order statements, and then also asking others that that may know them, and asking what they done business with,
Yeah,
and how they work and how they operate.
and
Okay.
put 10% down instead of the full million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So once again, appreciate you two. Thanks for your time. Just one more time, each of you, like where can we find you individually and as a unit as far as connecting with you?
Yeah,
Email
yeah,
first, Jamiel?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on my personal page as much, but it's my first name, Jamiel Strickland. But honestly, that's not where the game's at. Come to
Okay,
monopoly.bros on Instagram and
gotcha.
then monopoly_bros_ on Twitter. That's where we're giving out a lot of free game. That's where we're going to see us put a lot of content out. You can see our journey in multifamily space, see how it is to buy an apartment, and many more things we're doing. So for me, go to those two pages on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you're going to get all the stuff at.
All right. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, Instagram is 2_E Friday, just like the day. But yeah, like Jamil's, I mean, I'm pretty much everything that or being posted on Monopoly Bros page, I'm posting on my personal page.
Okay.
I don't use my Twitter hardly at all. So yeah, _2_E Friday on Instagram and monopoly.bros on Instagram.
All right. Okay, cool. Like I said, appreciate your time. Thanks for you two for coming on the show. And we did not have an outro for this show, so it is over. So.
Sweet.
All right.